The number one cause of home foreclosures in America is lack of emergency funds. In this episode, I'm going to address the question, why should creating an emergency fund be a top priority? If you don't understand this, but I'm going to share with you where you should put an emergency fund, and it's not in a bank or a credit union with a drive-up window. So my name's Doug Andrew, and I've been a financial strategist and retirement planning specialist for 4.5 decades. But in 2005, after having 3,000 clients in 13 Western states, I actually decided to let all my professional licenses automatically expire at the end of that year to become a consumer advocate, to educate. I started a national radio show. I did TV. I now have this YouTube channel. And my passion is to educate and empower you because I'm fine. In fact, I actually trained over 3,000 CPAs, tax attorneys, and financial advisors from 2003 to 2007. But I realized a lot of them were not taking the time to educate their clients. They would say, you know, Doug, we don't have time to educate people like you do. So what the public doesn't know won't hurt them. No. See, the reason they came is because none of our clients lost a dime in 2001 to 2003 after the terrorist attacks. Most Americans who had their money in IRAs and 401ks in the market lost 40%. And it took 4 years till 2007 to make it back. In that 7 years, a lot of our clients doubled their money. If they had $1 million in the year 2000, they had $2 million in 2007, December. Then what happened in 2008? As Warren Buffett put it, he said, when the tide went out in 2008, it revealed who was swimming naked. What did he mean? A lot of people didn't think that would happen again, and people lost 40% again in one single year. And it took 4 years until 2012 to make it back. In that time period, many of our clients had $3 million for the $1 million they started with. Most Americans were barely back to break even. So when we talk about how to create an emergency fund, people think, well, I need an emergency fund over here, and that is not commingled with my retirement account, or this money over here. And I'm going, no. My emergency fund is the same fund that I use for real estate management, business, working capital, for retirement, for college funding for my kids. It accumulates tax-free. Well, wait a minute. If you touch your IRAs and 401ks, there's a 10% penalty. I didn't say IRAs or 401ks. Well, what else is tax-free? The laser fund. The laser fund is like a financial Swiss Army knife. Let me tell you why. So before I tell you about this financial Swiss Army knife, if you know anybody who is wondering, how much should I sock away in an emergency fund and where should I put that money, share this video, okay? Subscribe, and I have several other related educational videos that will help you understand the best place to accumulate money for emergencies, lump sums, retirement, college funding. I use the same vehicle, and it's called the Laser Fund. Because why would you put money for emergencies in a bank or credit union? And people say, well, because it's liquid. See, they confuse liquidity with convenience. Well, what do you mean by liquidity? Well, I can just go down to the drive-up window and I can ask for my money out of the bank. And so you have your money in there, and you think that's liquidity because they have a drive-up window and they give you some suckers for your kids. You know how much that's costing you? Do you know in a true emergency in America that if the country really got into trouble, banks can say sorry and not give you your money for 6 months? Where do banks put your money for liquidity? Where do they put the money you deposit into them so that it's available to them in the event of a run on the bank or an emergency? Would you like to know? Here's the insight. In 2008, There were 400 banks that went under. 900 more were on the watch list, on the brink of going under. So the federal government asked the 5 major banks in America to disclose where they had their tier 1 assets for liquidity and safety in case of a financial run on the banks, because most Americans have no clue how close we were to a total financial collapse. Guess where the 5 major banks have 30 to 40% of their tier 1 assets for liquidity and safety for emergencies? In BOLI. B-O-L-I. It stands for Bank-Owned Life Insurance. What? On who? Doesn't matter. They're the owner of insurance policies on their board of directors, stockholders. They put money into insurance companies. Why? Because the multi-trillion-dollar insurance industry is the backbone of America and the backbone of the world. One insurance company, where I put some of my money, manages $3 trillion. Do you know how much money that is? That's as much as the IRS collects in taxes in an entire year. This is where the government goes for help when they need money. Banks borrow our money and pay us 1% interest. Every million they borrow, they pay $10,000 a year. And where do they put it? Into insurance companies that are usually ranked 6 notches higher in safety than they are. Most banks average maybe BBB ratings with S&P. Most legal reserve insurance companies are rated AAA. That's 6 notches higher in safety. They take our money, OPM, other people's money, they pay us 1%, and they turn around and put a lot of that into institutions ranked 6 notches higher in safety. They increase the safety, and the insurance company is paying them 4 or 5% without even linking to an index. How much more is 4% than 1%? Don't say 3. On every million they borrow from us at 10 grand, they're making 40 grand. Sounds like a pretty good deal. Would you hire an employee for 10 grand that made you an extra 40 or 50,000? This is where banks and credit unions put their money for emergencies. If you're connecting the dots, what I'm actually saying here, bypass the middleman. For emergency funds, why would you put it in the bank when the bank is taking your money and increasing the safety and liquidity by putting it over here? Why not just bypass the middleman? The actual fact is, in a real emergency, I can access my money with an electronic funds transfer or a phone call. See, the insurance industry is the backbone of America. They have liquidity. In the Great Depression, do you know how many banks went under? Okay. Well, banks basically closed. 40% never reopened again. Some real estate dropped 80%. Guess how many legal reserve insurance companies went under in the Great Depression? 0. They came through paying 2.5%, 3%. And in 2008, guess how many legal reserve insurance companies went under? 0. So take a lesson about what I'm saying here. If you want to establish an emergency fund, I would recommend you have one in the safest repository, earning a rate of return 200 or 300% greater than the 1% the bank pays you, and you can actually access your money with an electronic funds transfer or phone call. You don't need a drive-up window. Hello. And you can have tax-free accumulation. So let me give you some stories of how this works. So on this channel, Three-Dimensional Wealth, I share a lot of insights and educational videos about people who thought they were doing the smart thing by maybe trying to get their house paid off by sending extra principal payments to the mortgage company. Or business owners, they're trying to run their business and get rid of this and that, and they don't have any liquidity. Folks, I recommend that you have emergency funds of at least 6 months, preferably more like 9 months to 12 months. Of whatever you would normally need in income to buy gas and groceries and so forth. And so let's say if push came to shove and you tightened your belt, you could get by on $5,000 a month. You would need $60,000, that's 12 times 5,000 in an emergency fund. Sometimes people think, well, okay, that's a separate account, that's my emergency fund. No, I can have $60,000 in my laser fund, and I'm earning, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10% average tax-free rates of return. But it's also my same fund or my diversified portfolio. I have several laser funds for college funding for my kids and grandkids. It's my retirement account. It's my emergency account. It's also for my real estate management, my business working capital. It's like a Swiss Army knife. I can use it for anything. And so it's so liquid, there's no penalty. I can tap into it. I don't have to wait till I'm 59 and a half to avoid a 10% penalty. Hello? So if this is intriguing you and you're going, what's a laser fund? I'm going to show you how you can learn what it is, but more importantly, what it does. And how you can have this versatility, because oftentimes I have asked audiences, and it's mixed, men and women, how many uses are there for baking soda? And people blurt out, well, it takes the odor out of the refrigerator. I soak in the tub. It takes the pop out of a pot of beans. And finally, somebody goes, oh, it's good for baking. The obvious. They say, well, what's your point? My favorite vehicle, the Laser Fund, is maximum funded life insurance. Most people think life insurance is for death. Hello? It's for living benefits. It's for all these goals I've been talking about. People say, life insurance? My average return on my maximum funded insurance contracts, which I call the Laser Fund because it's how you structure it and fund it, will knock the socks off of any IRA or 401k. I earn rates of return between 6 to 10% average, but some years I've earned as high as 55%. But I don't lose when the market goes down. It eliminates the dangers of taxes, inflation, and market volatility because it's tax-free. Inflation helps me instead of hinders me because I link my returns to the things that inflate. And when the market goes up, I get to benefit. When the market goes down, I don't lose. Are you intrigued? Let me show you how you can learn more about what I call the Laser Fund. So the Laser Fund, I've written a book. This is my 11th book. It's been flying off the shelves. We're in our 6th printing. It retails for $20, but I'm going to gift you a copy for free. I'm going to share with you how to claim your free copy. But with the Laser Fund, there's 200 pages in here of charts, graphs, and explanations. But when you flip the book over and read this side, this has 62 actual client stories of how the Laser Fund is the dream solution for retirement, which most people use it for, tax-free retirement, and why people don't outlive their money here compared to money in IRAs and 401ks, but also college funding, business working capital, but emergency funds. When you read stories in here, you know how many times I have dipped into my portfolio of Laser Funds, because you can have more than one, and I've been able to access money in 24 hours, $80,000, $200,000. Is there an IRS penalty? No, there's no 10% penalty. I access the money. In fact, I borrow it out at 5% and I keep earning 10%. Did you hear that? I don't even have to withdraw the money. I can use it as collateral to borrow at 5 and I keep earning 10. How much more is 10 than 5? I make $50,000 on my million that I borrowed out while I'm using it for something else because I had an emergency. You have no idea how powerful this concept is. So if you want to be savvy, like a lot of people who are multimillionaires, you want to become your own banker, learn how to do it with the Laser Fund. If you go to laserfund.com, laserfund.com, you contribute a nominal amount towards the shipping and handling, and I'll cover the rest of that cost. And I will pay for the book and fire it out to you. Subscribe to this channel, search some of the other topics related to this one, watch maybe this one next, and you'll learn more about how the Laser Fund is like a Swiss Army knife that can be a dream solution for all kinds of financial goals and double as your emergency fund.